So continuing on with our data and statistics, we're going to learn a different way to describe data. We're going to learn about variance and standard deviation. And if you know how to find the variance, the standard deviation, there's actually just one more little step. So it's not too bad, but you are going to see some symbols that you may not be familiar with. So just kind of bear with me as I break it down. So we're going to start with variance. And for variance, we're going to use this little symbol here. It's kind of weird looking, but that's what we're going to use to describe variance. And the way that we find the variance, I'm going to kind of write the formula. It's going to look a little weird. So remember, like the first time you saw the quadratic formula, you were like, wow, that's a lot. What am I going to do with that? And then not even a day later, you were cranking out the zeros, right? So this is going to be kind of similar. It's going to look kind of crazy at first. So we're actually going to use the symbol sigma, and I'll tell you what that means in just a second. X minus x bar squared, and the entire thing we are going to divide by n. I know it looks weird, y'all, but I'm going to break it down. So first thing you may not be familiar with is this Greek letter sigma. It actually just means to sum, okay? So when we talk about sum, we're talking about adding up. So just breaking it down. When we talk about x, that's just going to be one of our data points. Just a data point. X bar, we did use when we were doing mean absolute deviation, and we used that to represent the mean. So just of our data set, it's the mean. N in this case is just going to be the number of data points. So how many items you have in your set here. Okay, again, I know it's kind of weird, but we'll get through it. So let's just jump right in. So let's say we have a data set. Say we've got 3, 4, 7, 4, and 7. Okay, so we have 5 data points here. All right, step 1. We need to find x bar. Remember, that's just finding the mean. So to do that, let's do 3 plus 4, just finding the mean here. So 7, 14, 18, 25. And then I'm going to divide by the number of data points that I have, which in this case is 5. So my mean is 5. Okay, so that's not new. We've been doing that. So x bar equals 5. Okay. Step 2, kind of like with mean absolute deviation, we're going to find x minus x bar for all of these. Okay, so starting with 3, and I'm just subtracting my mean here. So I've got 3 minus 5, 4 minus 5. I'm just going through every single one of my data points here. So I haven't done anything crazy yet. All I did was subtract. So I took every data point and I subtracted the mean. All right, step 3. Notice this little exponent here. Every time I did this subtraction, I'm going to square it, okay? So now I'm going to scoot this up just a touch. So these values here, and I'm squaring them. Remember, squaring is just multiplying something by itself. So -2 times -2, 4. So far, I've done this entire piece up here. Next up, this symbol here, it means to sum. So I'm going to add up everything that I just did. So I'm going to put step 4 kind of over here. So I'm taking all of these. All I'm doing is adding, which would help if you could see that, huh? So all I did was add. So 4 plus 1, 5, plus 4, 9, 10, 14. Okay, so I did my addition there. Now I need to divide by n. Now n is how many numbers are in my data set. Remember here I had 5. So 14 divided by 5. I would definitely use a calculator. I already did it. It's 2.8. So what that means is my variance, which we're using this symbol for, is 2.8. Okay? Now standard deviation is going to be easy. So standard deviation, no crazy formula here. Standard deviation is just this symbol. Notice that variance was this squared. So to find standard deviation, after we've got our variance, all we're going to do is square root it. So we found this, our variance, our standard deviation is the square root. And in this case, definitely left my calculator in the other room, so I just used my computer, but I get 1.7. So that's my standard deviation. So I've got my variance, and then my standard deviation is just one more step.